Imagine that every thought, every movement, every breath you take depends on a single molecule, a molecule that works silently without you ever noticing it. But if it's missing, your entire body starts to malfunction. That molecule is vitamin B12. And here's the shocking part. Between 1 and 4 out of every 10 people are deficient in this vitamin. And they don't even know it. Yes, even young, active people who eat well today, you're going to discover why B12 is so important for your brain, your blood, and your energy. You'll understand how it works, how it's absorbed, and, most importantly, how to make sure you're getting enough of it. Before we continue, I invite you to subscribe if you enjoy learning about science, health, and the amazing curiosities of the human body. That way you won't miss future videos, and you'll help me keep creating content like this. All right then, let's dive into the story of vitamin B12. What vitamin B12 really does. Vitamin B12, also known as cobalamin, is essential for your neurons to function properly. Imagine your brain as a giant electrical network with millions of wires connected together. Each wire is a neuron, transmitting electrical signals that let you think, move, remember, and even breathe. But here's the catch. Those wires need a special coating, a kind of biological insulation called myelin. Myelin makes sure signals travel fast and don't lose strength. And guess who helps produce that myelin? Exactly, vitamin B12. When you have enough B12, your neurons are protected, signals flow quickly, and everything runs smoothly. But when B12 is missing, myelin gets damaged. The wires become exposed, and the electrical signals turn slow or chaotic. That's why a B12 deficiency can cause neurological symptoms like tingling in your hands and feet, loss of balance, mental fatigue, or even mood changes and depression. And here's the scary part. Many people with low B12 have no idea. The symptoms appear slowly, subtly, almost invisibly, until one day your body starts sending loud warning signs. How B12 works in your blood. B12's role isn't limited to your brain. It's also essential for producing red blood cells, the ones that carry oxygen throughout your body. Think of your bone marrow as a massive factory. That's where red blood cells are made. But to build them properly, your DNA needs to replicate correctly. And for that, B12 is crucial. When there isn't enough B12, red blood cells come out defective, larger, misshapen, and less capable of carrying oxygen. This leads to a special kind of anemia called megaloblastic anemia. The symptoms? Pale skin, fatigue, shortness of breath, heart palpitations, even a yellowish tone in your skin and eyes because those red cells break down too early. The result? Less oxygen, less energy, more exhaustion. So if you're constantly tired for no clear reason, B12 deficiency might be the hidden cause. Unusual signs of vitamin B12 deficiency. Some signs are obvious, but others can easily go unnoticed. For instance, a smooth, sore tongue without your usual taste buds can signal a lack of B12. So can numbness, loss of sensation, or that weird electric shock feeling when you bend your neck. In more serious cases, you might experience trouble focusing, irritability, or unexplained sadness. And though these symptoms seem unrelated, they all share one root cause: damaged myelin and unhealthy red blood cells. Why B12 deficiency is so common? You might wonder, if B12 is so vital, why are so many people deficient? The answer is surprising. Our bodies don't make B12. We can only get it from food or supplements. And although the liver can store it for years, literally thousands of times more than you need daily, once those reserves run out, things start to fall apart. But here's the twist. It's not always about what you eat. Sometimes you're eating well, but your body isn't absorbing it properly. And that's where it gets interesting. How vitamin B12 is absorbed? When you eat foods rich in B12, like meat, fish, eggs, or dairy, the vitamin arrives in your stomach attached to proteins. To free it, your stomach needs to be acidic enough. The acid separates B12 from the food proteins, and then a key player steps in, the intrinsic factor, a special protein that binds to B12 and carries it to the small intestine where it's finally absorbed. If something goes wrong along the way, for example, low stomach acid, stomach surgery, or lack of intrinsic factor, B12 simply won't be absorbed, and that can go unnoticed for years. Who is at risk of B12 deficiency? Here's the practical part. Some groups are more at risk of B12 deficiency, even if they eat well. 1. People over 50, stomach acid naturally decreases with age, making it harder to release B12 from food. 2. People taking antacids or acid reflux medication. These drugs reduce stomach acidity and therefore B12 absorption. 3. People with diabetes taking metformin. This common drug interferes with intestinal absorption of B12. For vegetarians and vegans, since B12 is found almost exclusively in animal foods, they must get it from supplements or fortified foods. If you see yourself in any of these groups, don't worry. The good news is that B12 deficiency is easy to prevent and treat. Where to find vitamin B12? Most animal foods contain B12, but some are true champions. Liver is one of the richest sources, followed by red meat, fatty fish like salmon or tuna, eggs, and dairy. For those following a vegan diet, there are alternatives: fortified nutritional yeast, enriched cereals, and of course, supplements, always under the guidance of a doctor or nutritionist to avoid overdosing or unnecessary combinations. If you're learning something new so far, leave a comment telling me if you've ever had your B12 levels tested, or if you suspected how important it was. And while you're at it, subscribe to keep exploring how your body works and how to take better care of it. Your support truly helps keep this community of science lovers alive. How much vitamin B12 do we need? The daily recommended amount is small, about 2.4 micrograms per day for adults. Pregnant and breastfeeding women need a bit more, since their babies also depend on their reserves. Your body is so efficient that it can store 1,000 to 2,000 times that amount in your liver. That's why deficiency takes years to appear. But once it does, the symptoms can be hard to ignore. How to know if you're low on B12? If you notice any of the symptoms mentioned or belong to a risk group, it's best to see your doctor. A simple blood test can measure your B12 levels and other related markers like homocysteine or methylmalonic acid. If a deficiency is confirmed, treatment is simple: oral supplements or, in more serious cases, intramuscular B12 injections to ensure full absorption. And remember, don't self-medicate. Even though B12 is safe, it's important to understand why you're lacking it and how to treat it properly. What happens if you ignore B12 deficiency? Long-term deficiency can have serious consequences. Neurologically, it can cause irreversible nerve damage, affecting memory, balance, and concentration. In advanced cases, it can even lead to mood disorders and cognitive decline. And though that sounds alarming, it doesn't happen overnight. It develops slowly, making it even more deceptive. That's why the earlier it's detected, the better your recovery will be. How to maintain healthy B12 levels? To keep your levels optimal, all you need is a balanced diet and regular checkups. If you're omnivorous, include meat, fish, and eggs. If you're vegetarian or vegan, choose fortified foods or supplements, cyanocobalamin or methylcobalamin. And if you take medications that interfere with absorption, talk to your doctor about possible supplementation. Remember, it's not just about eating well, but about absorbing well. Taking care of your stomach and gut health is just as important as what's on your plate. Vitamin B12 is a tiny molecule with a massive impact. It protects your brain, maintains your energy, and ensures that every cell in your body can breathe oxygen. And even though deficiency is more common than you might think, the solution is within your reach. Mindful eating, medical checkups, and paying attention to your body's signals. If this video helped you understand how vitamin B12 works, share it with someone who might benefit from it. And don't forget to subscribe to keep discovering how small details can transform your health. See you in the next video.